Looking from the top down, combat situations like the one you are about to see may appear to be extremely complex. Surrounded by a 5-man team moving in from different positions at different times, how does anyone juggle all of that information all at once and come out on top? Simple, one step at a time. In situations like this, the thing that separates survivors from casualties is the ability to break down each moment filled with loads of information into a single binary decision. Given what I know right now, what is my biggest threat, and what can I do to reduce this threat? As soon as you've handled that, reassess what the biggest threat is at the moment, ask yourself the same questions, and use your instincts and experience to guide you towards the best course of action. Past experiences are more valuable than handfuls of memorized rules. Control is more important than raw speed, talent, and agility. Information is more critical than ammunition. Winning fights is less about how and what, and more about the why. Honing your ability to take in the information from all around you and use it to control situations will be the most significant factor in your growth and improvement as a player. Now, I'd like to share with you one of my recent experiences where information and control were the keys to my success. Let's learn from both my mistakes and my successes. This is the anatomy of a firefight. Yeah, thank you guys.
Kind of hits.
Good thing I had him. Just kidding. Alright, so a lot just went down there. Let's go back to the beginning, step by step, and break down what happened. Yeah, thank you guys. After spawning in and coming over to this main section of the map, I heard what sounded like a player shuffling around the corner. This is threat number 1. I'm going to be holding this angle and turn off my laser so that he doesn't spot it. As I'm holding the corner here, I can hear them slowly taking steps closer towards me and then aim down sights. I wait patiently for them to peek. Alright, so at this point I notice that the guy's fairly heavily geared. Unfortunately, I missed all my shots, so I'm going to take a step back and regroup.
Kind of hits.
So I press Y here to play the audio cue indicating that I'm hurt for a couple different reasons. One, I always like it if enemies assume that I'm potentially more hurt and or vulnerable than I am. That usually ends up working out fairly well as they tend to get overconfident. And also, there's a small chance that they might think that I'm actually a raider, AI, rather than a player, because they've been quite vocal as of late. All right, so doing a quick health assessment, I noticed that both my arms are blocked out and bleeding, although the rest of me seems to be doing fairly well. I know every 5 seconds I'm going to be losing some HP due to these bleeds. Although right before this, I did hit my hotkey to heal, so one of my arms is going to have its bleeding stopped. And I'm not too worried given my health levels about the other bleed right at this moment, although I'm keeping it in the back of my mind. And I also do know that I'm pretty damn fortunate for having survived that face shot, even though he's shooting an M4. He must not be using M995. All right, I can hear the guy around the corner creeping up slowly towards me. Still a threat, and I do hear footsteps off in the distance to my left, although far enough away that they are not considered a threat at this point. So I hear footsteps on wood both to my left and to my right. So it's possible that this guy has some teammates that are flanking around the left side, possibly over that bridge towards me through the kitchen. I am going to have to wait and listen for some more audio cues to figure out what the closest threat is. All right, so it was subtle, but right before this explosion behind me, I did hear the pulling of a grenade pin to my right. So I am now preparing to have to deal with a grenade throw. How I handle this depends solely on where the grenade is going to land. All right, looks like it landed in the back left corner of the room. So I'm going to try to use this island as cover. It seems to really be my only choice at this point. So now that I've lied down, I do not consider the grenade a threat at the moment. The biggest threat is, again, the person right around the corner to the right. It's very common that players will throw a grenade in, and as soon as it explodes, will push while you are either dead or reeling from whatever effects that the grenade had on you. So I'm getting ready for his push through the doorway. At this point, it seems unlikely he's going to be pushing, because if he was going to, he would have done it by now. So I have my laser trained right on the door, very close to where his head will be if he peeks this angle. I don't want to have the laser give my position away. I want to have him potentially think like I might have been killed by the grenade, and I'm now just going to wait to see if there's any more movement or to see what happens. Again, I can hear some rustling around the corner to my right. I can hear footsteps on wood on my left. Again, I think that this is still threats number 1 and 2. And I do hear footsteps behind me, although it sounds like it's probably likely not related to this fight. Although, again, like I said, I'm going to be keeping this in mind, because they might be pushing all this commotion at some point in the middle of or after this fight happens. And there's the sound of another grenade pin being pulled around the corner to my right. At this point, this is pretty much worst case scenario for me. Let's go ahead and see where the grenade is going to go, and that will dictate what my next course of action is going to be. All right, so I can tell from the angle of that toss that he's pretty much right on the other side of the door. And I also realized how far in and to the left that grenade's going. It's possible that it could bounce and potentially wrap around behind me, or it could have gotten stuck and be almost directly to my left. Not really sure at this point, but at this point, he's forcing my hand. There's nothing I can do other than try to push out towards him, be the aggressor, and try to take advantage of the situation, because staying here in the kitchen is pretty much a death sentence. All right, well, I clearly got really lucky there, given that I survived the explosion and that this guy potatoed pretty much all of his shots. So as soon as I put him down, I'm immediately getting ready for another threat to be pushing me from around the corner. All right, so nobody pushed me from around the corner, but I do hear footsteps around the corner, although it's more on the other side of the hallway. So I know that they're not an immediate threat, but they are definitely teammates of this guy. So they'll likely be looking for retribution pretty shortly here. All right, it sounds like his buddy's coming back this way. So I take some morphine preemptively to try to avoid having my legs get blocked out in the middle of the next engagement and have me have to deal with limping in the middle of a fight if there's one or more threats nearby. And I'm well aware that I'm still bleeding, So I know I'm going to be losing HP and haven't really kept track of how much time has gone by. So any of my limbs could be fairly close to being blacked out at this point. I still don't know if this the guy I hear right now is threat number 2 or if he's a completely separate threat number 3. We will have to see how it pans out. I'm going to be holding this angle while aiming down the sights, so in preparation for this, I turn my laser off one more time. Alright, so his teammate is clearly pushing me quite aggressively. That makes me think that he maybe doesn't know how close I am here, so I'm going to try to surprise him by sidestepping out and hopefully get a few good shots. So I'd say that went just about as good as I could have hoped. Alright, so with the 2 known threats down, I'm back in sort of wait and listen mode to try to reassess what the current situation is. Now, as I take a quick peek over in the corner to see if there's any more threats, I do notice there's one more teammate ready for me. So here's threat number 3. All right, so they clearly saw me notice them, and they took a step back, either back towards the top of the staircase or back around the corner. So we are back in reassessment mode. I'm going to take a step back into the kitchen, heal up because I can hear my guy coughing pretty hard, and I know I'm still bleeding. So let's try to fix that up and wait for some more information. All right, so from a health status perspective, we can see I've lost quite a bit of HP from those bleeds and those few fights I've been in. My right arm is still bleeding, and my head is very close to being at 0 HP. So my first priority right now is to get my head stabilized, because all it's going to take is even 1 or 2, even 9mm rounds to the face, and the blunt damage will probably kill me. So let's go ahead and heal the head. So I don't hear anybody pushing or anybody close, so I'm going to take this additional time to then heal my my chest or my thorax up to full health, because this is the most common place you're going to end up getting shot, and blocking out your thorax will result in instant death. So this is my second priority, and the bleed is my third priority. As I was about to heal my chest, I did hear some creeping footsteps around the corner. So rather than get caught in the med animation, I decide to stop and get ready for another engagement. All right, so at this point, I hear another set of footsteps along with the one I heard before. Looks like the one that was close to me is falling back, but it sounds like maybe threat number 4 could be rotating around through the kitchen to my left. As he came sliding to a stop there, it didn't sound like he did so very close, so it's possible he's either underneath me or maybe on the other side of the glass on the other side of the kitchen. I'm not sure. Either way, I think I might have a second or two to finally heal up some more. So I hear another set of footsteps on wood to my right. At this point, I feel like this might actually be a 5th separate threat. Could potentially be down the stairs, but otherwise, given the timing and everything, it seems to me like this might be a 5th guy. I've got metal and wood back to my left. I've got footsteps off to my right, footsteps straight ahead off in the distance around the corner. There's a lot going on here. Nothing is an imminent threat. I'm going to wait and see what my next course of action is going to be. So the guy on my right is definitely making a slow push, although there seems to be somebody who's making quite an aggressive push in front of me in the kitchen. So this is my priority right now, but I'm going to be keeping in mind the threat to my right afterwards. All right, so this is the 3rd threat down. I'm not really sure exactly what the fuck we're looking at here. It appears as though this man's thorax has just consumed his sort of whole cranium area. Physiologically, this makes no sense. Thanks, Battle State. Again, a common theme you'll find that I'm sort of playing against is, as soon as one person pushes, it's very common that after a very short delay, another person will push. Usually they're expecting you to be reloading, to be healing, or to just generally be caught off guard. So I'm preparing for the guy to my right to be pushing right away. All right, so I just heard someone around the corner fall back and then go prone. It's good that one of them is finally trying a tactic other than just running around the corner like an idiot. But I'm going to keep in mind that this guy's prone. Now, as always, I'm really cognizant of where my laser's pointing. At first, it was up against the door, and then as I made the transition to the opening, I put it up against the wall to the left, making sure to not shine it on the wall on the far end because the enemy would be able to see it. Okay, just kidding. He has now stood up. Okay, just kidding one more time. He is now prone again. All right, so upon a quick peek, I see our little prone friend here. I'm not sure if he's a Mosling, if he's a Hatchling, if he's a Pistoling, but I feel usually pretty confident about quick peeks here, so I'm going to try to take a quick shot on the guy. All right, so kind of in the recoil of that sidestep, you could see the mass of the gun sort of pulled it down and to the right, just slightly off from where I was aiming on the guy's head. So this has probably hit him in the wrist. I'm going to try to give it another shot. All right, so that's threat number 4 down. Given that the other guys are pretty fairly well geared and that guy was quite low geared, I'm not sure if he was with them or if he was just trying to take advantage of the situation. But either way, all I can do is head back into the kitchen, figure out what my situation is, and again, just wait for some more inputs. Kappa. All right, so to switch things up a little bit, I know you guys love your loot, so let's do something a little bit different, and we'll do a little bit of the anatomy of a loot goblin here. Usually what I'm prioritizing when I'm looking at looting somebody is to see it's almost from the top down. I'll first look at the helmet, then typically we'll look at the armor and the gun, and try to compare what I have with with what they have to try to figure out what I want to wear, what I want to keep, what I want to put in a backpack, what I want to equip, and what I'm going to leave. So my first consideration is the helmet. Clearly this is a really nice helmet. It's a really expensive helmet. But I know I did shoot the guy in the face earlier, and I know that this is the short mask, so you can't actually put the mask up, and it's possible that I damaged the face shield. So rather than try to wear it, even though it's got probably better protection, I'm going to stuff it in the gamma and keep it safe for later. All right, so my next consideration here is the armor. I noticed that he has more protective armor with the sleeves, not the high mobility kit, and also that it has more durability than mine. So I'm going to be taking his armor and wearing it in place of mine, and we'll be taking his Val as well. All right, so scrolling down, I see he's got the TV rig, he's got an attack backpack, and I always like to grab the dog tags. I always love to claim my kills. You guys know that. So I'm pretty much going to be taking everything here. So I'm now realizing that the play probably should have been to put my mags in the TV rig, to take the current rig I was wearing, throw that in my backpack, and wear the TV rig, given the additional armor that it would provide. So that was probably a mistake that I made there. Now I'm going to take his backpack. The quickest way to take backpacks, in my experience, is to take your bag that's full of stuff and to drop the bag icon onto the icon of the other backpack. As long as it fits, it will automatically drop it in there. You don't have to worry about aligning the cells up properly, and then should be able to just alt-click the bag to equip it very quickly after that. Good thing I had him. Yeah, good thing you weren't paying attention. We established earlier that there was 5 threats that I had heard. This is apparently threat number 5 that I had completely forgotten about in my my perceived triumph. So now I'm in full-on panic mode. All right, so thank God I was able to take down the pistol boy. It would have been pretty bad if I had just cleared a whole squad and then got taken down by 9mm after all that. Just kidding. All right, now let's watch it back one more time in full, uninterrupted, to see the decision-making process I just outlined in real time. Thanks for watching.
Kind of hits.
Yeah, Burns, I've queued up as a 5-man.